Hi guys, it's Nina from VR Focus and I'm joined by...
Tommy Palm.
So you guys have been doing some exciting stuff in the virtual reality immersive space. Can you tell me a little bit about what you guys have been doing the past few years?
Yeah, so we founded the company 3 years ago, and since then we have released 4 games now. Our biggest title is a fishing game called Bait. That was the first kind of real game that we released, and it's one of the most downloaded games, we think. It has more than 2 million downloads. It's made in the first iteration for mobile VR, so Samsung Gear and Daydream. But now, recently we released a social multiplayer version of this for Facebook Spaces called Bait Arctic Open. So you can play tournaments with your friends in a social setting. It's been super fun. I've always been very fascinated with making multiplayer games and social games, and this was a great opportunity to be able to do that, where Facebook provided a lot of the complex things about, you know, logging in, getting an account set up, and then the whole avatar thing. And Facebook Spaces, if you haven't tried it, it's a really fun place to interact with your friends, and you see the body language through the controllers, and you can do faces and you talk, which is a part of a social thing. We have, I think, 13 different type of fishes that you can do. It's ice fishing because you are standing around the table. So the table is kind of the centerpiece, and now you get rods so you can fish with your friends.
Right, so is there some type of beautiful atmospheric scenery around you? Do you hear music? You choose like the radio station?
Well, you're sort of on the North Pole. Since it's Facebook Spaces, you can also exchange it to whatever kind of 360 video or whatever background you want. So that's quite interesting. As a game developer, you typically want to control everything. But this was very exciting to have this setting. One of the reasons is that it becomes very much like AR, actually, because all of a sudden you have like live video where you only have the avatars and the fishing in front of you. So that made it extremely interesting as well from a development point of view, and seeing like, okay, this could, years from now when we're all wearing goggles, we could have this type of interaction. And there's so many different things you could do, like fishing is just one example. This was released a couple of months ago. So it's a fairly new experience, and Facebook Spaces has also recently been released to Vive, so it's a cross-platform experience, which is really cool. So you can either be on your Oculus Rift or you can be on Vive, and they continue developing for it. Facebook Spaces is still in beta, so a lot of things is happening continuously. They have a pretty active community who is really fond of this and really like hanging out with people in the virtual world.
So what's the feedback so far from this active community in Facebook Spaces? Are they enthusiastic about the idea of fishing?
Yeah, they love it. I think most of them are not, they don't go out fishing normally. Fishing has always been a very social thing. It's, gives you something to do, but you still have the mental bandwidth of, having a conversation or just fooling around and throwing stuff at each other, whatever you want to do in this kind of space.
Is it coming to any other platforms as well anytime soon, or?
I couldn't tell. That would be a question for Facebook more. They are the one who are controlling the Facebook Spaces app, and this game is within that app right now. So.
Gotcha. Okay, and is there anything else that you guys are working on for 2018?
Yes. So we've been working for our most ambitious project until now is a pirate game called Narrows. So that's something that we're extremely excited about finally getting out in the marketplace. It's for the Daydream platform. It's sort of a roguelike game a little bit, so you are strategically overviewing map of the Caribbean, and you move your ship around and you encounter pirates and navy, and there's a lot of cool things to do in there.
Is there like a storyline that happens or takes place, or is it very sort of, kind of godlike view of your ship as you sail through the ocean?
Yeah, it's a little bit like godlike view. One of the games that we really love and have had as an inspiration is Faster Than Light, which is a great kind of space exploration game. But here you also go into combat and you go to the market and you can trade and stuff like this.
That's for the Daydream platform only. And when will it be released?
On the 15th of February.
Okay, and how much is it going to be?
$9.99.
$9.99. Is that pounds?
Dollars.
Or is that
Yeah, that's dollars.
$9.99. Just wanted to check.
Yeah.
And I suppose that you get to upgrade your ship, that you get to choose different crew members, you get to upgrade your weapons as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a really fun space to be in. I've always been a big fan of pirate games. One of the first games that brought me to programming was Sid Meier's open world game Pirates back in the 80s, and it was just an amazing simulation of that there's so much lore and interesting adventure from that age of piracy.
Okay, so that's number one. Do you have anything else that you're working on as well this year?
Yeah, so we have one team that is working with AR, but we haven't announced what they're doing. This is our first venture into AR. We are very excited about that, and one of the reasons we've been focusing so heavily on mobile VR is that it's similar to AR in many senses. So we were super excited to hear about AR Core and AR Kit coming out for iPhone and Android phones, and we have been experimenting with that a lot and trying to find something that could be a good first step for us in there. I'm a big believer, I think that all screens will be one day replaced with some wearables where you can have both AR and VR, but that's some time away, obviously, still. Until then, we have mobile AR that we can learn and do cool things with.
So I suppose you see mobile as the most accessible platform right now for both virtual reality and obviously augmented reality.
Yeah, I mean, what's great, you already have a phone and you need not so expensive thing to stick in there. I'm also very excited to hear that there'll be standalone VR headsets coming out this year. I think that's great. That lowers the barriers even more, so consumers can easily go in and out of VR. That's pretty tricky right now. The setup process of an Oculus Rift, it's great once you have it set up, but to bring it to a show and set it up is kind of a nightmare. Yeah, it takes a long time at least.
So you guys are based in Stockholm?
Yes.
And are you guys growing, expanding? What's it like there in the virtual and augmented reality space?
Yeah, so we're 30 people now. We've been growing quite organically, slowly, so that we have 3 full teams and can work on 3 different projects at the same time. Stockholm is a really good game scene, a lot of talented developers there, so it's been great from a recruiting point of view. And there is not so many VR games company. We're a few now, but it's been quite easy to get people interested in coming in. I think a lot of us who loves games just felt like, it'll be amazing the day you can be inside the game and that's the entire world around you. And that is slowly happening now. So it is very fun to experiment and see what works and what doesn't work. So it's a really privileged opportunity to be a game developer today and then be a part of this kind of revolution that's taking place.
So within the next 5 years, how do you see you guys growing as a company?
Obviously, one of the things that is needed sorely, a lot of other talented people are working on hardware that will be better and better, but then it's going to be the content that is a reason for people to go in there. So we're focusing on making what we feel is very accessible experience. You go in, you don't get nauseous. It's not primarily about violence or blowing stuff up.
So you won't be looking at building any zombie games anytime soon?
No, that's we've been focusing on first-time VR users and trying to make more inclusive titles where somebody who probably is pretty hardcore about their VR bought the headset, but they want to show it to their friends and family, and we're looking more at that scenario.
Family friendly.
Yes, I truly think that games are for everyone, and we'll see that more and more. It's mobile phones has helped opening up the target audience for games a lot more. And I think there's so many interesting things to do in VR, just around education and things like that as well. It can't just be for gamers. I love gamers, I'm a gamer myself, but there's already plenty of people doing content for us.
So is there a potential that you guys might be, I don't know, making toolkits or environments that have to do, that kind of gamifies something that could be used in the real world, kind of like training simulation, but family friendly?
We build tools, but primarily for our internal production right now. Tools are a great way of making you being able to build things faster. I'm a big believer in kind of user-created content as well, but it's difficult to do that. You need a kind of a big scale on what you do. We have done a lot of interesting prototypes, but nothing that felt like the size became difficult for us to handle at this point.
Thank you so much for your time. Is there a website that our viewers can go to find out more about your company and the games that you guys are creating?
Yes, resolutiongames.com. We're also on Facebook and quite active in that community.
Well, I hope so. Head over to vrfocus.com if you want to find out more about virtual reality, and I'll see you there. Thanks.
Thank you.